Welcome back to the Marching Arts Podcast. That's right, podcast, not just the network, the podcast. I'm the Stress Master.
And I am Kanan, also known as the Tumor. And oh my God, you've got all three of us in the same place. Who else is that?
Hello, I'm Jen. I'm so excited to be back. I've missed you guys. So it's been a long couple of months without you, you know?
She's been gone so long, she's grown 7 inches of hair.
I have. Literally, I was saying that this is drum corps length hair. It's about as good a condition as post drum corps tour also, you know?
Wow. You know what's also crazy? Since you've been gone, we've had almost 200 new subscribers.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
200.
Wow. Content, so.
I think we're at 2580, and we were like at 23, 24.
Oh, that's awesome.
So thank you all to those that have subscribed. And if you have not subscribed, you just press the button down there at the bottom to subscribe, and then you can get notified when we're having cool videos on the channel like you're watching right now. This is a monumental.
And it's gonna be so exciting because drum corps season like officially is. I feel like April is like the official start for drum corps season. So yeah,
we usually start to get showed reveals and uniform reveals and stuff like that right about now. Last year we had a really, as you recall, we had a really big uniform episode, which I'm looking forward to again this year.
Exactly, and there are. I think there's been a couple more show reveals. We're not going to go into that today. On this podcast, we'll probably tackle it on a different podcast. And I think our next podcast is going to be in 2 weeks from today. Jen was luckily able to jump on 2 weeks, right? 26?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
27. Because next weekend you're both busy.
Yeah. Well, I know Regiment's camp is the weekend of the 26th, 27th, so I won't have any information.
Yeah. But
as I always say, I mean, as you know, I'm in the middle of moving, so there's a reason there's three of us, and there you go. So I may or may not be here.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of take it as it goes. But and if you have not seen the latest video, I just posted it yesterday. It's a compilation of 2023 highlights. So I hope you guys enjoy that. The 2024 video that I did 7-8 months ago has almost 11,000 views already. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's a lot of views. It's actually the number 3 video.
Nice. It was fun to go back and watch those 2023 highlights because you always kind of forget what happened the year before, you know, and it was like half a Regiment show, but it's like I almost forgot about how much I loved that Mandarin show. Oh my God.
Yeah, so good.
So want to watch that again. Yeah.
2023 was a really, really good year. I think for me, my highlights for 23 had to be probably, I would say, Mandarins, definitely. And I really liked the Blue Devil show that year as well. So
yeah, it was a good show. It was a very Blue Devil show. Yeah. The one show that drove me up the wall, everybody knows, is Blue Coats. That show just drove me up the wall with the repetitive.
Was that the flower uniforms?
In the garden.
I loved that show, but I'm a honk. I love Blue Coats.
They were amazing.
Really misstep for me.
I'm a Blue Coats fan, but I hate that show. I'm sorry. There are two ways about it. I can't mince words. I hate that show. Sorry.
They were amazing though. They performed the hell out of the show. But
I didn't say they were bad. I was not knocking the kids. It's 100% show design. I hate that show.
People knocked their uniforms quite a bit, but there was something very subtle when they had horns up. And I'm not a horn player, so we're good. There was a design line that was made by those sleeves that I just thought was great, and it was so subtle. It was so tiny. I'm probably the only person that was like, I love how those sleeves look. But that's me.
I think you might be the only person that actually.
I might be the only person. From a design perspective, I would wear them to bed.
I gotta say, it's better than the in 2024 they were awesome, but the red stripes was just like, no. Yeah. But anyway, so we're here to talk about WGI. And what's been happening. So last weekend was the championships for Winter Guard, all different levels. This weekend is percussion and winds. Winds performs today and tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But percussion completed last night, and RCC was the gold medalist. and Rhythm X, I think it was in second, was silver, and then Broken City was bronze, if I'm not mistaken. So, congratulations to them. We're actually
I'm gonna give a little shout out to our St. Louis percussion line, Freedom Percussion. They came in fourth in Independent Open.
Oh, cool!
Yay, it's a good showing.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully next year they'll move up into one of those medallion spots.
Yeah,
so that would be cool.
And then the crowd favorite was George Mason. They were the fan favorite.
Okay,
that show,
I'm gonna have to go back and find them. I
love so before we came on, we were just talking about, and I was mentioning, so you've got to go back and watch that show, George Mason drumline from George Mason University performing the George Mason show. Is, if you look at that show and you look at it really, really closely, it looks like their drums have their green drums with looks like yellow stripes on them, right? And if you look at the uniforms, it looks like got pinstriping down them. Have a closer look. It's not actually stripes. It's actually just the word George Mason printed over and over and over and over again. I love that show so much.
You know what you guys can do, though? You can go back and watch our previous podcast where we watched the George Mason show and reacted to it. So I'll put it up here in the corner.
Hey, put a link in the corner.
I know it's been like a year and a half since we did a podcast, but yeah, that was the last one we did. So
yeah. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. So give me a second here. I'm gonna switch on over. We are looking at April 5th. Jen, did you want to go through and look at each show progression, or how do you want to do this?
Just a couple of really notes, because I'm so used to how things happen in drum corps, where kind of once you're in a spot, your score may change a little bit. There may be one guy that hops another guy, but there's nothing too crazy that happens. And there was a lot of crazy that happened in WGI between the top four.
Is this the right one? Because I'm not seeing Pride of Cincinnati on here.
These are the rounds. So you want to go to...
Oh, gotcha.
These are the rounds. So if you look at it, so we don't have to notice too much, but what the rounds broke down to in prelims, instead of having to scroll through those, is that Pride of Cincinnati and Paramount tied for first. A-Tube was in third, and Fantasia was in fourth. Then they went into semifinals, and I'll let you know, there's a whole lot going on here. Then we go into semifinals, score all the way up.
Oh, sorry. As soon as I click back, and now it's pressing us all the way. Okay, here we go.
All the way up. So we go into semifinals here, 2025. There you go. And things flip around. There's Scholastic World. There you go. And Fantasia jumps up to first, Paramount in second, Pride in third, Etude in fourth. So... there it is again. Fantasia jumps from fourth to first, and
it's not just the
Pride.
It's not just the placement jumps, though. It's the numbers are all over. The
numbers are jumping all over the place, and then there's a lot of movement now. Now this goes down to Juxtaposition, Blessed Sacrament, and Fusion. We've got Fusion in fifth,
and look at Amps in eighth.
Sixth. They stayed in eighth. Wow. That's their home base. Okay. So you got Fusion in 5, Blessed Sac in 6, and Juxtaposition in 7. Okay, now go to Worlds. Go to Finals.
Okay.
There's Finals for World, down one. And there you go. And how does it end up? It ends up with Pride in first, Paramount in second, Fantasia in third, A2 stays in fourth, Juxtaposition stays in fifth, but Fusion and Blessed Sac do swap places. So we have all this movement. The only people that stayed in place were Etude and Juxtaposition from first to seventh. I think Paramount may have stayed in second. So
do you know what, though?
It's kind of crazy.
That's wild. That's wild, man.
Do you know what, though?
Takes that 94.9,
Truth be told, though, I kind of like that. That tells me
you've got fun to watch. Yeah.
But the thing I like about that, though, is that we're always talking about the S word in drum corps, slotting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That tells me slotting isn't happening at WGI, and you see same jump. And you see the same jump in numbers when you look at the percussion scores as well.
Yeah.
That tells me that the judging panels are judging what they see at the time, and I think that's how it should be. I would love to see in DCI that one day that we have the Blue Devils in second in semifinals and they end up finishing sixth. Because or not that I'm not wishing the Blue Devils to finish in 6th. Everybody knows I'm a Blue Devils honk, but I'd like that possibility, and that possibility just doesn't exist in DCI. That's one of the things I like about WGI.
Yeah, it's really not about the night anymore. It's about how are they overall, through the process, and it's just kind of like, and everybody kind of gets slotted in.
I feel like WGI was literally about the night. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, I want to talk about some of these. It goes down to 15. There were some great color guards, and I mean, just across the board in the world class. Mirage had one of the fan favorite shows. If you haven't watched it, go back. It is literally my 80s playlist. It's like Yaz, and I mean, it's just everybody's been talking about how awesome the music for Mirage was, because it's like 80s new wave pop, synth pop, and it just, I mean, I could sing along. It's like somebody stole my mixtape from my sophomore year of high school, Vox Artium in their second or third appearance in finals, they had enough. Everybody remembers Vox Artium. They are the ones that had those 3 guys come in and try and learn color guard, but they also did the Bloody Mary show last year, or the year before. They had a wonderful kind of tease at the end. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to give it away. It's called Rest in Peace. Great show. They just kind of picked up from where they were last year with their energy. Everybody loved it. But if you haven't seen the show, go watch it. I'm not going to give away the ending. It was great. And then going up to, I'm going to shout out AMP. Of course, everybody loves AMP. This is the year of, I'm going to do flips and walkovers and aerials and all sorts of crazy things under my 10 rotation tosses. The talent of these kids is just, AMP is one of those things where they just throw and throw and throw and throw and throw. And you just find yourself holding your breath, but also like, woo, doing a little head bop, because they're so awesome. And they did a great disco show with a lot of groove, and loved it. So Blessed Sacrament, my shout out to them is this was like their 44th appearance in finals in a row. Like that's just amazing. Who has that?
But Blessed Sacrament as well also has a big UK connection. Pretty much every year they've got at least one or two members from the UK.
Yes. And that's been that way forever.
If Mayflower from the UK isn't coming over, that's usually where the people that would be wanting to go over there as they go to Blessed Sac. So the other thing I noticed about WGI this year, and I'll be honest, I've not dug that deep into the world of color guard yet. I've been pretty far down the rabbit hole in percussion, is staging. Seems like everybody's got huge amounts of staging and props and this, that, and the other thing. And I haven't gone that far down the rabbit hole in guard yet, but especially in percussion, it's become a really big thing.
I think the trend
there's a variety.
Yeah, I really think the trend with guard, and I'm going to get some negative backlash on this, in terms of staging, it's just like there's so much density going on. Like, I can't focus on what's happening because there's like tosses and this and that and this corner over here and this, and it's just like this. Then the floor clears and then you have more clarity, and it's just kind of weird to kind of see all that.
I'll chime in on that because that's a valid point. You see that a lot if you're watching Independent World, because they are literally putting 50 kids on the floor. These top 4 guard, like these top 10, I would say, they have at least 30, 35 kids on the floor. I marched Independent World in 96. We had 16 people, So I was stunned, like how many people are in these guards. Like it is sometimes hard to look at, especially if you have a show like Vox Artium or Mirage or AMP that is just going at 120 beats a minute the whole time, So that can be hard to watch. When you get down into Independent Open, and I want to give some shout outs there before we talk about the top 4 in world. There are some really, really beautiful things happening there. Their guards are a little bit smaller. They're more like 25 to 30. And you can it just breathes a little bit more. But yeah, when they get a bunch of stuff on the floor, now you have lights going on, and there's a lot of, there's literally electronic.
It's a lot of density going on. It's a lot of density to watch.
Dense. Yeah.
And I get it. I get it.
And for me, I think that's what drew me to Mayflower, or sorry, not to Mayflower, Mayflower in the brain. Pride of Cincinnati it was just the floor. That was it.
Yeah. And Paramount was the same way.
And there's a huge level of risk when you do that as well, because now it becomes all about the performers and all about the work. And you are so hyper exposed. So I understand why we put stuff out there, but I think it also takes a lot of guts to put nothing out there, So
well, and when I did watch Pride of Cincinnati before, and their floor is significant. I mean, it is smaller than some other floors because it's a circle. Right, so they don't use the entire amount of space that they could use, so it even makes them look even denser in some parts because they're a big guard. So
well, and what's nice about Dayton Arena is that everything's blacked out. The background is blacked out, the floor is blacked out, everything is blacked out, so you can use that as a design principle without having to invest the money.
Exactly. All right. Now that I've been negative Nancy about it.
So before we go on to Pride, I want to shout out Etude had one of the fan favorite shows again. Everybody loves Etude. I love Etude. They had a beautiful show. Wild Geeses. It was a beautiful poem. It literally, one line of it just brings you talking about, love who your animal body wants to love. It just brings with the current climate, in our country over here, it just gives you goosebumps, because we really do need to, I'm going to put my politics out there, we really do need to love, who we want to love, and that's our business. So, and it's a beautiful show. They're so talented, they're so graceful. So good job on that, and then we'll go on and talk about Fantasia had a great show on the waterfront, something like that, or no, on the boardwalk, I think it was. Just very talented, very graceful. I didn't watch their show as much as I watched Etude. Sorry.
So, Jen, real quick, remind me. So, what year did you march Independent
96.
World?
96.
And who was that
1
with?
year. I was with
who was that with?
I was with Ascension Winter Guard out of Houston, Texas. Right. We were only around for 2 years, so I marched the first year. They did one more year, and then they dropped out.
There's my next reaction video, by the way.
No, you can't find it. I can't find it at all. I have a really crappy VHS version of it. I've been trying to track down the finals tape, and I can't find it. We came in like 12th, something like that.
So the question I wanted to ask you, though, was obviously you've got a connection with WGI that I don't, and I don't think Justin does either. And we know with WGI percussion that the vast majority of those percussionists also march DCI. I think percussionists in DCI have almost become like mini rock stars themselves because of all the lot hype and the lot videos and all that stuff. You recognize faces, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So what percentage of Guard members would you say march DCI, and what percentage would you say only do winter?
I'm pretty sure half of Pride of Cincinnati marches Boston.
Right.
In fact, the soloist from Boston, the guy with the beard, was in Pride of Cincinnati. Etude, I'm going to shout out to Nate Moeller. This was his last year at Etude. He marched in regiment, and then he also runs our fan shop with Robert Cawthorn. He and another girl tour all summer with us. And I worked prelims. No, I worked semifinals at DCI last year. And the amount of fan boying and girling that happened in the line when they realized that Nate from Etude was working the fan shop. I think people were getting in line to buy stuff just to talk to Nate. So
that's awesome.
He is a WGI celebrity, and the sweetest guy. I love him to pieces. So yeah, there is a level of celebrity, but not to the point of that's a world. The percussion stuff is a world. The lot videos, all that. So yeah, it's a lot stronger in percussion than it is in color guard. But I wouldn't have the percentage guess, but there's quite a few. But I'm just not attached to them to track them. But like I recognize some faces at regiment, and they move on to other places.
Yeah.
So
and I know that a lot of WGI performers, like guard, they don't show up until April camps. Like it's not even a requirement really for most drum corps that. No, if you're marching, we see the guard throughout the audition process through to about December, and then we don't see anybody again until April. because they're getting training and everything, so it's kind of like free training for them. So
exactly. So as far as go ahead.
I'd say it really is a win-win for the drum course, because at the end of the day, both percussion and guard, the kids are paying somebody else to make them drum corps ready. I think it's
oh my gosh, and honestly, what they're doing in winter guard is 10 times harder.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I clutch my pearls. I mean, what they're doing is just beyond comprehension. For like, there's not even on my best day could I have done what they do now, and they do it like it's no big deal. I mean, even at the high school level, in the scholastic level, it's just like, what? Come on.
There's some crazy scholastic guards and drum lines, man. They do some outrageous stuff. Shall we watch Pride of Cincinnati?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
And I'm going to give a little shout out to some of the open class and scholastic notes that I have.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to switch over, so you're going to see some transition.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get started here watching the video. But before we got there, I wanted to point out the floor. And they have I'd say about 30 so members.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Oh, going to count.
About 30-ish. I'm not going to count either. But
it's actually small for a World Guard.
But I wanted to point out the floor size. It's a circle. And look how much extra space they're not using.
Yeah.
So they're really putting all their eggs in the basket, so to speak, by putting the guard so concentrated in the center. And you're going to see the concentration of elements throughout the show, because I've actually seen part of this show, like with clips and stuff, but not the whole thing from beginning to end.
Oh, man.
And again, though, you've got no props, and now we've made the floor half as small as it can be. So we're basically telling the judges, this is where you're watching,
Yeah.
And I love the level of risk that's involved with that.
The thing that I want to shout out with the thoughtfulness of this outer black ring being fabric. It allows them to hide their props better, but it also allows them to camouflage their costuming. So once, obviously everybody knows they change costumes. Once they take those dark costumes off and they put them on that outer ring, those dark costumes completely blend into the outer ring and disappear. So you just don't have clutter on the floor. And it's just so well thought out.
All right, shall we watch? All right, here we go.
Performing their program to the fullest, WGI Sport of the Arts.
Can you guys hear okay?
Present Pride of Cincinnati.
I'm going to crank it up on my end.
Okay.
Who am I to say what any of this means? I've been since I was 14. Now as I write my song, I retrace my steps. Honestly, it's easier to let myself forget. Still I check my
So the guy in the center is the one from Boston.
choked up by realize I've been left in
It's a little challenging to see the people because of the darkness, but I know they change costumes.
Yeah. Here. So cool. This would scare me.
Wow. Nice transition.
Amazing. I mean, the costume step out. Yeah.
wage war on gravity.
This rifle section right here. I love this choreography. It's just so pretty. I don't know why. All that through the leg work.
Another dawn
such a great phrase. I want to learn that phrase so badly.
See, now it's interesting because now you have the turquoise against the black, so now it's some contrast.
It looks like empathy to understand both sides, but I'm just trying to find myself through someone else.
Oh, double rifle. Okay.
So show me what to do.
Just so effortless.
Yeah.
So effortless. Yeah, that's just the talent of it all. Oh.
How do I forgive myself for losing so much?
You know what I mean? And like, on what day am I doing somersaults under?
I like that.
That flag
I
entrance
like that
is
drum move
amazing.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, you see,
I had to rewind it to find out where that flag came from.
there's a chain reaction.
It's like you just don't see where the flags come from. It's beautiful.
No. And it's the brilliance of the design.
Yeah.
You didn't see where any of the flags came from because your eye was drawn to the center of the floor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, come on.
Woo. Woo. Save that one.
Just so clean.
And to your point, they're hiding all the silks underneath the black ring, and you can't see
Yeah,
anything.
then they hide it back again. So now they're all gone. Like, where'd they go? You know? It's brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
Whip that back there. I saw a clip that showed the close-up of him whipping that rifle back there. And it's a long way.
Feel all of it. It's uncomfortable, but right. We would want to try to see each other through, to know ourselves and others well. It's the most difficult and meaningful.
I love how we're down to one last
Oh, I love it.
person.
They move really well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you can't even see where he dropped his costume. Oh, so perfect. I don't know why I'm obsessed with that.
Pride of Cincinnati from Cincinnati, Ohio. Under
Crazy.
the direction of the Pride Youth
That's a beautiful
Development
show.
Foundation.
I'd be interested, and would you guys be interested in seeing the recaps?
Yeah.
I'm very much of an analysis
I don't know
person.
how to read recaps in WGI.
All right, let me try getting there.
You know, I want to say that it's going to be interesting looking at recaps without having watched, Paramount again. Paramount and Fantasia gave all good runs for their money. And Paramount show, it's called Shout. It was all these variations on the Tears for Fears song, which is one of my favorites. Again, I love these 80s throwbacks that we saw.
Perfect. Okay.
And it's such a cool show. So if you haven't seen Paramount, make sure you go back and watch it because they were fantastic. And on any given night could have won.
So if I may, because I'm probably the least qualified of the three of us to talk about Guard. I just know when I see something that I like, and I know what clean looks like, and that was a clean show.
It
That
was.
a
Yeah.
super clean
Yeah.
show. I love the bit that I love from a design standpoint, like you'd mentioned, Jen. There was no clutter. We used some equipment, we got rid of it. I really appreciated that. And the reason why is that as somebody who isn't as guard focused as you are, Jen, I just like to watch the performance, and it helps me as the untrained guy know where to look. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not distracted by a bunch of shit lying around on the floor. It's just I can concentrate and be in that moment, because obviously WGI shows aren't as long as a drum corps show. You've got to take it all in, because as quickly as it's come, it's gone. So
I don't think I've ever looked at a recap sheet on WGI, and I think we should just acknowledge how volatile those placements are.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about these numbers, if I'm honest with you.
There's no rhyme or reason. Like, Paramount has a bunch of firsts, Sprite has a bunch of firsts. It's all over the map. So that is a joy to look at, but I'm not going to dive into this.
We'll break it down.
Real quick, going back to Pride, for me though, for me the highlights outside of the there wasn't a bunch of shit for me to look at on the floor. It was I love the flag bit. I'm a big flag honk anyway.
A good flag statement is awesome. Yeah,
and it was so clean. And again, from a design standpoint, we're all compact. So man, if that wasn't clean, it was going to show. It was going to show so bad, And it was, as we used to say back in the day, piss clean. And it was just so flowing and effortless. The flags were there and then they were gone. And the other thing as well, as I mentioned, I like how they move. I think that something in WGI, both guard and percussion, that's often overlooked is the drill aspect of it. I don't know if it's called drill or whatever in WGI, but the way that we move from one set to another, I just thought they moved really, really well. So that's my take on it.
But if you watch from beginning to end, you kind of see the development of color, right? Because you start with all black, and then you introduce the turquoise, and at the very end you have that rusty, I think it was a rust color, like brown kind of ish color on the last performer. So you kind of see the development of the color, and then when the flags come in, they're very complementary to the uniform, and then having that floor so dark, it really makes the colors pop up off of the floor, which is what you want. So I think as a development, it was really, really nice. Seeing the color development throughout the show, and once again hiding everything when you're done, so that you only see what you want to be seen. From a design standpoint, was perfect, because it was. But I still think at the very beginning it was a little too cluttered for me in terms of just so much stuff going on, and you couldn't see clarity. But that was the point, I think. So it was kind of supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be kind of like, the beginning of the story is like everything is so dark and everything is so cluttered, and then it clears up and it becomes brighter and cleaner and clearer in terms of like what you're seeing. But that's just my take on it.
When we talk about color palettes, because that's such a huge deal, especially in Winter Guard, I'm going to put this shout out right here. Choctaw High School Winter Guard. They were a Scholastic Open color guard. Had my favorite uniforms, my favorite floor, my favorite color palette, my favorite everything. So good job on Choctaw being a little high school open guard for taking the cake for me on having the best color palette. I sent a screenshot. I took a bunch of screenshots, and I'll send you a screenshot so you can put it in.
Perfect.
Because it's worth noting. And they were like the bendiest guard. They were doing like minute-long handstands and everything. These high school kids, they, before they get old and arthritic, they can do so much stuff. But I'll send you a screenshot of that, because it was just, it was beautiful to look at. So
all right,
it was just a feast for my eyes.
I'm gonna dive in. I've been kind of looking at the recaps, and like you said, it's super volatile. But I mean, look, Pride of Cincinnati got second in equipment. Paramount got first. Fantasia got third. A2 got fifth with Juxtaposition, and then Fusion got fourth. And then you jump over to movement analysis. They got first overall. Third, it was Paramount, and they got fourth in some captions here too. And then second, and then sixth, and then fifth, and then then you go over to design, and once again they got second, and then first for Paramount, third, and then sixth place.
Real quick. Go back to design real quick. Yeah,
I'm right here.
Blessed Sack got a first and a sixth.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. It's crazy.
It's just crazy.
Composition and execution. So they had the composition, they just didn't execute very well, apparently, in that caption. Here,
so then GE took it for him.
But only by 0.15. I mean, that's not even or 0.25. That's not even a huge gap.
That's true. Right, that's true. But it's, I mean, but they only won by, look at the total score. They only won by 0.15.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's just so all over the place.
I mean, on any other night, that was Paramount's night. So, I mean, go watch that show. That's a react video I should do because I loved the Paramount show. So it's a toss up between whether I was rooting for Paramount or Pride.
Exactly. And like what's so weird though, like and we're gonna see when we look at the scores after you I know you have to go soon, but after you go we're gonna watch if we have time. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have time.
We're like 40 something minutes already in this podcast. It may be a separate video. We'll see. But anyway.
Yeah, right?
So
yeah.
It's pretty long. We're going pretty long. But the scores are very static in percussion. They don't, once they're kind of set, I don't think there's a lot of flip-flopping like it is in color guard. It's like all over the place. Everybody's all over the place like we saw. Because I know that coming into finals, everybody was pretty much slotted where they were going to be for percussion. I don't think there was much flip-flopping around. Maybe first, second, or third could have flipped a little bit, but
there were some crazy score number changes, though.
Yeah, that usually happens. Now, that's one thing that talking about DCI, that's one thing that kind of bothers me a lot, is like in semis or prelims, like no one will be anywhere near like 98 or 99, and then semis they start bumping up to 97s and 98s, and then all of a sudden finals they're 99.56, and they're like, what?
Right.
How did they
You're
get
gonna tell me
they got 8 points better.
I struggled for a week and a half to get 0.3 of a point, and then in one night I'm suddenly 2 points better.
I know. Well, what also happens though is it spreads. So like the lower part of the top 12 goes like this. And the upper part goes like this, so everybody kind of spreads up and down.
There's always somebody that is in an island, you know.
Yep.
That's like, oh, here I am. That was Phantom Regiment 95. Look at me, I'm in 5th. Nobody else is close to me.
I know, it's just so wild. And last year, was it last year? There was, the scores were pretty high all the way down to like 9th place. Mm-hmm. And then the bump was 10th place, which is kind of odd. But anyway. Anywho's.
So my last little bit about color guard is just some open class notes. Again, a shout out to St. Louis because I have to. Levoot came in 3rd in Independent Open. They had a beautiful show. They had a girl that laid in a fetal position for 90% of the show and then came out and did the last phrase, and it's all part of the design of the show, and you're like, wow, that's your role. How was practice? You know, but it was a beautiful show. It was colorful, but they were in all white. The floor is white. You know, they just accented with colors beautifully. So again, go back and watch that one. Woodlands High School won Scholastic World. I'm gonna have to do a react video on that because incredibly talented performers there doing things that I never could have done in high school. And again, I had 2 St. Louis representations in Lafayette High School, which is a mile down the road from me. They made Scholastic A finals for the first time, and I'm very excited for them. And then Edwardsville High School over on the Illinois side also came in 10th in Scholastic A, I believe, 10th or something like that, 14th maybe, I don't remember. But again, they made finals too. So we're a growing area here in St. Louis, and I'm really excited to see some great representation in finals pretty much across the board in percussion too.
Okay, so Jen's going to be skedaddling, but we do have some unfortunate news we got to talk about. But let's turn it over to Kanan.
Yeah, so we have talked a lot about the world of drum corps as well, and unfortunately drum corps did lose 2 performing members in the last couple of weeks that I think we'd be remiss not to talk about. So first off, to our friends at the Madison Scouts, who lost one of their 2 players, Maurice Clanton Jr. Unfortunately was involved in an accident and passed away. So Maurice, and to our friends at the Madison Scouts and Maurice's friends and family, our hearts go out to you. May you never walk alone. And then also our friends at the Colts lost one of their baritone players this week. This is a little bit of a titchy one to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because the Colts have talked about it, and I think it's important. They lost a young man called Jaden Lovett, who passed away. In reading the post, it would appear that Jaden was suffering with some issues, and sadly took his own life. So the Colts have put out a link to an organization called 988lifeline.org. If you happen to find yourself struggling, please speak to somebody. I'm the only Kanan Cornelius on YouTube. If you want to speak to me, you can speak to me. I'll gladly give you my phone number. The world's better with you in it. So
absolutely.
So our hearts go out to our friends at the Colts and the Madison Scouts. So
yeah, take care of yourself.
Just to also send out my condolences to our Phantom Regiment family, because we lost a young instructor that instructed with us in 2021 and 22, I believe, Ramon Ruiz. Again, I don't know how he passed, but it sounds like it may have been an accident or something. Yeah, very sudden. And there's a lot of hurt going around losing our instructors who are also part of our family. So again, it's been a lot this season. This early season. So
unfortunately, we forgot about somebody that was a part of the freelancer family. Alex Eugenio passed away about 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point. He was a vital part of the freelance organization. He was in the Corps. I honestly don't remember how many years. I think it was like maybe the 85, 87, 88 years. And then he was an instructor after that. So everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. So he is sadly missed, and we all will miss him as well. I just wanted to make sure I put this in the video. So if anybody from the freelancers are watching, or anybody that knew him, our deepest condolences.
My condolences.
No, we don't like
people.
We don't like ending these podcasts like this, but I think we'd have been remiss not to talk about it. So
sure. It's important, and maybe at some point I'll talk about my experiences of the last year or so. Just hug those people, hug your family, hug your friends, tell them you love them, because you just never know. So just keep that in mind. We don't want to be, making this a down thing, but it's important to make sure that you don't lose track of your friends and your family. And if you need help, I'm going to put it across the screen here. Definitely reach out to that hotline, and make sure you take care of yourself. Okay. Cause we do want you here. It's really important.
And if you happen to be watching us from where I'm at in Europe, there's always Samaritans as well. So,
all right. Well, Jen, it's been great seeing you, and Kanan. We're going to continue on with a separate video here in just a moment. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Please make sure you also visit our YouTube page, where we have a community that you can be a part of. We have a lot of people that participate in having discussions on the different videos that we do. So it's really kind of cool to see that.
Buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, buy a t-shirt. Yeah, definitely go to our merchandise store. You can see all that stuff there.
And while you're down there, while you're there anyway, there's a like and a comment and subscribe button. So Jen's fan, make sure that you pop on and say how great Jen is and how rubbish we are.
I know, right?
You've got 2 fans now, don't you?
I think I have 2. Yeah.
Wow.
So Jen's fans, make sure you get on there and big up her ego a bit. And if you think that me and Justin are talking out of our ass, by all means, please tell us. Make sure that no matter what you do, no matter where you do it, no matter when you're doing it, and no matter how you're doing it, just when you're doing it, make sure you march on.
March on. Bye, everybody.
Bye.